the boat, baby. Rock the boat. I don't tip the boat over. Rock the boat. I don't rock the boat, baby. Rock the boat. Ever since our voyage of love began, your touch has thrilled me like the rush of the wind, and your arms have held me safe from a rolling sea.
Welcome in to another episode of Rock the Boat with your host, Lisa Rock. Hey, how are you, Lisa?
I'm doing great, Deacon. How are you doing today?
Blessed. I'm happy, healthy, terrific. Life's good.
It's summer.
Oh,
it's officially summer.
Real fast.
I mean, it was winter, and then this iteration of fall, and then almost spring, and then suddenly it's hot. It's you step outside and your entire body just melts, right?
When the windows of stores are sweating,
you know something's wrong. Yeah, it's funny. We were driving back from dinner last night, and it rained, and the steam coming off the asphalt was overwhelming. I was like, it had that "I'm on the moors" moment of how it looked. It was a lot, right? It was a lot.
No reprieve in the evening. So sometimes you get to go out and sit in the shade, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, and I like to walk at night. I'd like to swim. We have a local pool, and so I like to go swim. My son and I like to go right at the end of the day. So around 6 till 8, got the water slides, and I swim my laps, and then we go down all the water slides together. There's all these like little ones, like tiny little kids, and there's me, and they're like, "This is cool." They look at me, I'm like, "I know," I'm always like the only grown up on the slides, and because I love it, I'm still a kid myself. I'm in this business, I'm in this business. So my son had asked me before, so when do you feel like a grown-up? And I said, well, I'm this age and I don't. I said, so you won't. I said, if you're lucky enough to be, a musician, to be in theater, to be in radio, like any of that, you never have to grow up.
That's right.
You still get to play. Like it's encouraged, and it makes you better at your craft when you're playing and open and honest, right? Like that's the way that this works. So speaking of that, as I'm watching our intro, my niece is the one who did all the videos and pictures and stuff. So that's Erica Rock Photography. She is on tour with Morgan Wade right now. So she's an incredible videographer, photographer. She just did CMA Fest. Some of the guys from Nashville, Charles Eston, Chip Eston, if you've ever watched that, he opened and she got some really cool shots. So if you all of you out there listening, go look at, I'm so proud of my niece. I'm proud of, my niece and my nephews, all my nieces and nephews. There's a slew of them. So my spouse has, there's 7 of them, and they all had children. So Thanksgiving, you can imagine, right? But if I had to name them all, it'd be long. But we have our sponsor, dear friends, Lynn and Doug Steffen. They have a one-stop shop, which is over in Chicago. I'm gonna probably look this up because I don't want to get the date wrong on it. It's or the address wrong. It's 4301 Lake Park. That's in Chicago. And it's been nearly 70 years since they've had this grocery store. It burned down and they brought it back. They've always taken care of that community. Lynn, Denny, Peter, Laura, they own that. But like Nikki D, her nephews, Nikki D and Andrew work there, her husband, Doug. So they are sponsoring the podcast, and they are the kindest, most supportive people. But check their store out, but also the biggest supporter of the arts. Like you can go to theaters all around Chicagoland and see their names up because and maybe not, they probably are very private, those kind of people that are just good people, you work for them. So that's just it. Right. And you're one too. So, awesome. So we have that, but so my, having dear friends, right. The rejection, that's the episode today, right? Rejection, is redirection. So I have, this industry is a gift. It really is when what you are, what you want to do, what you want to be. But there are roadblocks in it. There are moments that are difficult when you're, I was in my 20s and had that stack of headshots. Like at the beginning of the year, there's 100 of them. They came in a stack of 100 back in the day. And again, online, but still people have physical copies. And at the end of the year, I've got 20, 30 left, and I have 3 jobs to show. And then I'm like, I have 3 jobs to show. Other people are like, I only did 3 shows. I'm like, no, listen, everybody wants to do this. Like when people mimic something, they're not mimicking doing, whatever that is. They always mimic picking up a hairbrush or something and singing, right? They
Always.
air guitar. Like everyone enjoy, because you enjoy music. We all have art in our lives in some way. So I'm very proud of being able to be any part of that and continue that. And I feel like I always have, obnoxiously to my band, I know sometimes, of being positive about things. I'm sure they have other things to say. I love them all. And love them all. We were talking about
That's
this
right.
earlier too. You only jab people you love. You don't tease around with people that you don't, because only the people, it's like sibs, right? And our band, we're like, we're not sibs. We're family.
That's right.
There's this tightness that we have, but I always find the positive. I'm going to find it no matter what it is. It might take me a month. It might take a year, but I'm going to find that. And so as I've gone along in my career, I feel very proud of the reinventing. That door didn't work. So I'm going to go find that door, and I was thinking, as I've, been going through the episodes in my head, in this particular one, I've thought about so many iterations of what rejection looks like to people, what it looks like to others. And for me, there's moments of clarity. We're in the middle of a job. I could be in the middle of something and I'm like, yeah, I love this, but I love this part more. I didn't realize I was no, I don't say good. I say great. I was a great salesperson until I was given the opportunity. And that was Jarvis and Robin Hughes together after I did my very first show. They said, you can do this. And I was like, and I'm that person. We talked about that, how you like the head scratch, right? We all do. As soon as they said it, you can do this, I was like, yes, I can. Somebody believes in me. I'm going.
Yeah.
Here's a book to learn how. And I was like, fantastic. Devoured it, read it, and moved on. I've been singing since I was little. I've been singing in various places, but I had done a lot of different theater things. And I wanted the rejection part to be some of the stories of things that happened that were just fun too, that are kind of those behind the scenes. And somebody asked me that the other day, like, what are some of the weird things that have happened? Right. And I said, I had this doing Into the Woods the very first time I did it in the early 90s outside of Detroit. And I was playing the baker's wife, and she's looking for, she's off into the woods, and she's going and marching off stage and had to come back. But we left stage left and then had to come on stage right. It was just me counting steps. And I had a cross through in the back. And it was always clear. They knew I had to run like at full speed. Again, in my 20s.
Right.
Running at this age right now is, snack, crackle, pop. And I'm counting, count from here, 1, 2, 3. And I run full speed ahead. Somebody put one of those big cube boxes. Yeah. Person in the audience that was there, that friend of mine who saw it, said they heard the thud. They didn't hear me. I won't repeat what came out of my mouth. Trying to be family. And I broke my toe. I knew it. I felt it. And I have to come on stage and have this, and I sing and then I die. So I have this whole thing. So I come on and you hear me 84, because my toe's broken. So I get on stage to this whole thing and I get done with it. I die, go off stage. And I'll never forget, the crew person back there was like literally it was me. And I was and I put my arms out and I was like, come here. It's okay. It's, because, and like, I'm so sorry. And I said, you know what? I'm okay. I said, my toe's broken, but and we'll figure something out later. Like, you go get me a snack or something, whatever. We were, joking about it, but I've had the rejection part. I remember I was at an audition when we were living in St. Paul, Minneapolis, St. Paul area. It was a big equity theater, big union theater. And I started singing, and, you come in, they always ask you to bring 16 bars, so you get like a minute basically of a song, and you have a book that you've got a bunch of those different styles, different, whatever that is for anybody out there. Cause not everybody listening is going to be an actor and understand. So we have a whole book that we make, and some people have it on iPads now, which I don't think is always, just in case technology doesn't work. I mean, we know. So I had, I've got a pretty thick book of, here's my fast, my slow, my different styles, and, for whatever. And you pick kind of based on that style. You're not really supposed to, they'll ask you, if they want you to sing from that script. You usually don't. You're usually singing something in the style of, is what it is, right? So I come in and I sing my 16 bars. And I go into the next because they wanted a slow and a fast. I do both of them. And do you have another one? And I was, oh yeah, of course. Sing another one. How about another fast one? I do another fast one. How about another slow one? Another slow one. I'm on fifth song. And I get to, and I look at the piano player and he's kind of like looking at me and I could see it in his eyes. He was like, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm so sorry. I said, you've heard like 5 songs at this point. Can you, is there something that would you like to look at my book and pick what it is you're missing that you're not catching in that? And he stood up. And I realized later he stood up to see the height against me. He was also in the show. I was too tall. So I took my book. I could see the look. I saw what he did. And he was like, and I said, I thank you so much for having me. I left. Not unkind, not rude in any way. But I remember thinking, that wasn't honest. That wasn't like, why didn't you just ask? Why didn't you do that when you came in? Why wasn't there a yardstick there, like the height thing? Or when I walked by, the people, I've seen casting rooms where they've set something up, so that when you walk, oh yeah, so that when you walk past it, they realize. And especially this gentleman was very short. And well, that's fine. So that didn't work out. And that was a moment because I had just done my first big equity show, and it's considered a production contract, which is a Broadway contract, but it wasn't on Broadway. It was in St. Paul. And so I was seeing kind of the trajectory of my career and auditioning for all these different people and having that. And I thought, why am I putting this in someone else's hands? I would go in and I'd get down to it. I was down to the last few. Then back when we were touring and people were touring in Europe, they had all these Broadway companies going there, but they did them in Europe. So I was down to the cast in Phantom and the Stuttgart company. I learned how to speak and say "Das ist Tee, das ist Wassermelone," so I could order food in Germany because they said it's not English speaking as much as you want it to be. So I learned how to say beer and tea and watermelon. I don't know what I was thinking. Kohl was salad. I believe kohl is salad. Mushroom. Like I learned the little things. I know you're going, really? So that's what matters is food, right? To an actor, to a musician, to all of us. So I came back from all of these auditions and always feeling kind of that energy in the room. Like when you're waiting, there's an excitement. There's a beauty to it. And then there's a terror that you could see people are terrified. And I was always the person, I wasn't afraid when I was little, like they put me on the table to sing. So I never had that fear about performing. Right. So I took the audition process as getting to know people. I know it's anxiety filled for a lot of people, so I don't lessen their experience by saying that. For me, I love meeting new people. I'm that person. I know my mailman. I enjoy that. So I would get to know people and talk with them, and then it would lighten up the area of people I was around. And I just remember always thinking, this is what you want, is this comfort, to give that off and then you get that back. Right. So this is all kind of playing in my head of, well, there's things I want to do. I could do a whole show and do this one song and then I'm off stage for the rest of the time, or I could do my own stuff and get to do all the songs and then invite my friends into these and then maybe a band. And so all of this was going through my head. So I started writing cabarets. I started performing them. I started just writing in general. I wrote a column years ago. I was writing a column. I have found just being on my own, but thinking of other people was inspiring to me. Like, this will be for me with these friends. This will be for me with that group of friends. And what's not being seen out there. And I was always a huge Carpenters fan. And I thought about the show. I think I know I talked about this on my last episode, but it's so important to find someone. I believe my acting teacher, Robin, authenticity, always about being authentic. When you're authentic, you believe me, When
Sure.
you find someone, who do you love? Like, who's your person that you enjoy watching on television? The reason you do is because they're believable, because they're being authentic. And so I thought, I always found the lack of show behind the Carpenters,
Mhm.
that it was, I know there's show, but it was, she's just there singing and doing the music, that was so authentic to me.
Yeah.
And I believed in that. And I wanted to do that. No one was doing that. No one had that vocal range. And I thought, who would do this without doing the range? Because I have that range for that. And why would you sing the songs? Because that's what meant something to people, was her voice, the depth of it.
Yeah.
Even at 19, right? She was 19,
Goodness.
did Close to You, right?
So crazy.
So crazy. Like, what a gift. And so that music, when I did the very first time I did the show and felt that relationship with the audience, that's the drug.
Yeah.
Not a drug person. That's the drug. That's what I understand about people, what they
Sure.
say, that high, right? And that for me was, that was the high, that connection between people.
But so how long were you in the business when
I did that,
when you were too tall?
I've been too tall. I've been too tall. It's and it's so ridiculous, isn't it? That I would go there, and if there weren't men tall enough, I knew I wasn't getting cast. Sure. I knew that wasn't happening. I wasn't even getting called back.
Right.
And I saw, and if there was, it's funny because the tall men would find me and I would find them. Like, we would find each other. So are you, when we would read together, if they gave sides out, we would find each other.
Yeah.
And because sometimes it's not, wasn't always organized, even though these are professional places. People they're doing what they're doing. It's not criticizing the casting process for those places. It's just, it was whatever was happening. Yeah. And I just got tired of that. I thought, I'm gonna be older at some point where I can go back and do that anytime, because you never leave this industry. You never leave that. And if there were other roles, and I thought, if I'm not getting cast, I'll go do something else till I do. And I was in my late 30s, 5 years ago. I was in last week when I was 29. So I knew very well that I was going to get pregnant and have my son. And I thought, I don't want to do 8 shows a week anymore and be away from my family. Now I have a child, I have a child on the way. And the band came out in 2010, and my son was 2, about to be 2. And I hadn't been doing much work after I had him. And I thought, if I'm going back, it's going to be on my terms this time. And I'm not going to go where I'm gone away from him for months at a time and doing things where I'm gone every single night and missing out on stuff. So I was in my late 30s, which I so hesitate saying that, because it took till then for me to be able to make a living at this. And that's really hard, I think, sometimes for an 18-year-old to hear that, who's going into college. But I've worked the entire time. But to make a full living in the arts, I can count on one hand the people that I'm closest to that I know that are doing that. So many people. And I have a huge network of people that are doing it full time, but they have side gigs too. They have side hustles that they have to have. When they're not on the road, they have to do something else. I am the booking person. I am the manager. I'm the agent for my band. So I am getting different cuts than those friends are getting. They're not just the singer, but that's what they're doing. They're the singer. They have an agent booking them, taking a cut. Yeah. I don't have anybody doing that for my work. I'm the person.
So you learned from Rejection to say, why don't I put this in my own pocket?
Yep.
Right. And that's hard, as you said, for a lot of young people trying to get into the business, because we watch television shows. I won't say which ones.
Unless we want that money,
right?
I'll take Friends money any day of the week.
And all of a sudden, I'm on a TV show.
Yes.
With judges and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And it looks real easy.
It does. They make it feel well. And I say this to people all the time. Why do you think they cry at the Emmys, at the Tonys, at the Golden Globes, at the Oscars? The path to here, it's, yes, you're emotional. This is amazing. I won this. But the path to financial freedom, when you name a job, I've done it.
Sure.
I have done it. I have like done every temp job. Again, being the people person I am, I love temp jobs. I always loved them. I was always the person annoyed all of my coworkers. I was like, oh, this is fun. We're sorting. And they're like, there's 750,000 pieces of paper to sort. And I was like, oh, that's 10, there's that person. I was like, and they have a cafeteria, and they're like, oh God, this is who walked in. And I was just like, whatever. So I looked at it and as, yes, there's the rejection part of it, but I am in control of this scenario, and other people can be too. By the next episode of what I'm going to be talking about is who you surround yourself with. So at 18, at 22, at 25, at 30, for all of the ages that you're at and thinking, how do I do this? It's not just that you've been rejected and that there's, oh, I'm rejected, I quit, I give up. That's not it. There is a path. You just have to find it. Mm-hmm. If you have people that mentor you, because that's the point of this podcast, is to talk about the mentoring portion of life, that there's always somebody older than you and somebody younger than you and someone more experienced and less experienced, someone on your same plane, whatever it is, that you can learn something from.
Yeah.
You have to find that. And for me, I watch those people that are spinning their wheels and thinking, you're doing the same thing each time. You've not changed something up. What can you change? Can you take an acting class? Can you take a dance class? Can you take a business class? Can you just be more authentic in your life? Like, are you not being honest with yourself about your own skills too? Maybe this isn't your path? That this particular part of the business isn't, but go look around, but ask, talk, meet other people and figure that out. But make sure that there's people. Don't they always say that the people closest to you tell somebody who you are?
Yep.
I'm proud of who I'm friends with. I'm proud of who I consider my mentors and friends. Yeah. That circle of people that I have.
So,
yeah.
I'm a big basketball guy, and Kobe Bryant. Right?
Oh yeah. I was always the mailman. The mailman.
Okay. I'm a Lakers fan. Well, anyway.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay.
So the amazing, he's got a quote that says, once you find what you're passionate about, build your life around that.
Oh, that's great.
And he goes, I was passionate about basketball, and he built his life around it.
Yeah.
And when you're in the arts, when you're in music, when you're in acting, if that's what you're passionate about, and that's what I love what you've done, is you redirected, said, no. I'm passionate about this.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to build my life. Maybe I can look at it from a different lens, which is, it gives me goosebumps. It's inspirational, because you will get 70. Yeah. Thanks. We'll call you.
Absolutely. I have a database of over 6,000 theaters in the country. And what I do on a daily, this is my daily, is that I send emails out. I wait a couple weeks, and then I call those people. Some of them I know, some of them I don't. There's the cold call, right? I do that. And until I get a no, I continue. I'm not obnoxious about it. This is how I do business. I've cold called people and talked to them about what I do, and they've booked my show and then booked my other artists as well. So I love music so much. I believe in what I do. I believe in what my people do so deeply. And music is everything to me.
Right.
I love, my son's a musician as well. I'm so to get to share that with him. He's been on my stage. He sings with me. He plays guitar. Right. Incredible. I've had those moments, and to have that, but to look at something and say, I don't know what that is. I do. I know I love something. When you do have that love and passion for it, the part of it that I think about with the rejection, and I said this to my son the other day, and it's like that thing. Yes, Mom, I know. And this is what it is. And I said to him, when someone shows you who they are, right, in this business especially, I said, when someone shows you who they are, I said, what does Miss Maya Angelou say? And he's like, you believe him the first time. And he says it so begrudgingly, but then with his sweetness to it as well. And I said, you know what that means. I said, why do not spend your time? And that's the same thing. If there is a theater you've auditioned at 53 times, maybe that 54th you'll get it, but if it's not a fit, it's okay for you to go. And I tell my son that if this doesn't work, why are you trying that door? And I tell him all, like the big thing for me, why do I focus on people that aren't giving love, aren't returning, don't have a reciprocal. And listen, we all have relationships with our dear friends that it's 90-10 sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes it's 100% that they don't have anything to give. They're in a whatever their situation is right then, or it's 50-50, or it's on them. When my mother passed, I have in October, I have I think about, Allison and Kate and Kevin and Tommy and Erica, like all of Laura, all of my people that stood there and were there with me. And that's who you spend your time with. That's who you give your focus to. That's who you, and if you do that, that comes back to you instead of this person over here who's not being kind, who isn't supportive, who doesn't believe in your dreams, because everything's a dream that you do. No, everything is. So why, if I have so many people around me that are like, what about this? And I said, well, I'm writing a Broadway musical. And they're like, are you really? And I was like, yes, I am. And I am actually writing a Broadway musical because that's where I expect it to go to. It's an old Hollywood. I have a person I'm talking to right now, but because people believe in me and that they all are on board, all of my friends are like, yes, how can I be a part of it? Because that's what I'm surrounded with. And that to me is what is a big part of anything that you're doing. I have my family. I say that, I don't have a lot of family left, but my family back home, the girl I grew up with, and I know you're listening, Tammy, who I grew up, who lived right behind me and still does. And we were 7 when we met, was there at my mother's funeral, was my dad's, my grandparents, those people, you don't ever forget. You don't forget where you're from.
Right.
You don't forget what it took to get there, and that you're still you through all of these iterations of that. All that authenticity to me, draws those people towards you. And so when you do have dark times, when you do have difficult times, you still show up because somebody else is showing up for you.
Yeah.
And that can be difficult. It can get lonely, because we have a job that we're at late at night, that other people are home at 5 o'clock, right? They're home at 5 or 6 o'clock and get to have those weekly dinners and kind of go through that. But I have this network of people all over the country that I see, when I'm on tour, and it's a great business. Yeah. So yeah, I'm very, I really believe in, finding that, and I believe in trying to help other people find that too. I always say, where I'm at. You find me on the socials. If you're out there listening, and any of my friends know, they refer people to me all the time that say, I think you'd be a good fit to help them kind of focus what they're looking for. I support everyone, and I believe everybody has something to say.
Yeah. And that we do too here. That's why we do what we do here.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's interesting. Let's get that on a show.
Yeah.
What I also like that you said is, so many times when we get rejected, we go back, right? It's like an abusive relationship. I'm going to go back. I'm going to get it this time.
Interesting.
I'm going to show them that I'm good enough. And so we keep spending that energy, like you said, and it just may not be a fit there.
Isn't that interesting? Right. I think, that's therapy. There's therapy session in that, but what is that? Why do people do that? What's the proving? I have some, I know some people. I don't want to. We're not in the same circle, but I know people that were kind of in the business who aren't really anymore. That are trying. They're like kind of in the administrative part of it, and just kind of walked away. And really, they got that power, and the power turned them into something different.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, wait, you've been in it. And this is where you're going with this. And I think that dark place for them must be really hard at night and lonely for them. And I'm really sorry when people, gosh, I love when Mrs. Obama said that you get somewhere, you reach back and bring them up to you, right? Like I don't understand the concept, because nobody's anywhere without, somebody helping them get to that spot. Exactly. And so when people don't do that, and they have that kind of, attitude, because I've gone through, before that, because I it's really hard, because I know how hard it is for so many artists out there. Yes, I have been working consistently the last 16 years, nonstop. Like how to be able to say that my gratitude, is every time I perform. My band will tell you I'm a crier. So I look at that sunset. They're like, oh, geez.
There we
drive
go.
the van, and I'm like, this is so pretty. They're on their phones or doing whatever. And I'm like, it's just one of my bandmates, Ian, is like, Ian will look and just, he gets it. I'm like, Ian gets it. He gets it. My horn player, he gets it. He'll be like, I know, that's amazing. Look at that. And I was like, fine. You don't just look at your phones. I'm so right. Come on. I'm that person. And so I've gotten off the stage like at intermission, and I go out and sell CDs and hang and do this and meet and greets and stuff. And I've gone into the restroom in between and I've sobbed. I have just sobbed, especially after the pandemic, during the pandemic when we had distance shows, and just sobbed at the gratitude I have to get to do this, to get to like my existence. I'm a thriver. I am a cancer thriver. I had thyroid cancer during the pandemic. I'm on my 4 years, of cancer free. Yeah. And there's another level of gratitude, right? There's another level of that comes with that anyone out there that's gone through that. I've had many family members go through that as well. And I have such just that look on life, right? To know that each thing, right? Yeah, everything's a gift. It is.
Sure.
It is. This business is a gift. To have people come up after and say, this brought me tears. This brought me a memory. This brought me back. Mm-hmm. This took me to. That's what I got to do today. That's what I got to do. I got to, and I love it. I love being up there. I turn around, I look at these people on the stage with me who fine, we're going to say it. I love them. I love them. I adore each one of them. We always jab each other, but at the end of the day, I'd do anything Absolutely. For them. They're Anytime. All my ride or die. Yeah. They're all my ride or die. That's each one of them. Anybody who's been on my stage in that, they're all there. Yeah. And that to get to do this and make music with them. And because people ask me, what's your favorite music? And I'm like, whatever, I'm playing with them.
Yes.
Right. When I'm playing, my favorite music is when I'm playing, like it's just right. It's so, and you're out in the audience, you're watching that, you're feeling that. And was it Dave Grohl? I think made the comment, like 85,000 people. I haven't had that yet. My biggest has been 3,500. Still pretty cool. Oh, no. I sang it when my dad passed. I sang at the stadium. I sang the national anthem. That was 10,000. Good for me, right? Cool, yeah. Whatever. It's fine. But
song to sing.
But it's that many people that are having a separate experience.
Yes.
But yet a collective one. They've done that research where they said the heart rate is the same.
Yes.
As everybody around you, and that you're feeling that like symbiotic. I love that. I love that. And to get to be with people that are feeling that time stands still. When you're on stage, 3 minutes between us. We're over a half hour, but 3 minutes on stage sometimes can feel like 2 hours when you're in that breath.
What a cool rush.
Yeah.
What a cool rush.
Yeah. So the rejection of that till I had many dark times. Like, what am I going to do? I'm constantly getting rejected, and maybe I'm just going to be singing at church, but then I'm like, I have a church gig. How am I complaining? Yeah. I always found that silver lining to it. Like, I can't, if this is it, if this is what I'm going to be doing, I'm singing at home for the cats. Right. Or if right now, Emma is a border collie for those of you out there. And Emma, Tim's dog has decided, because Emma came with me. So the band is going, who's a buddy? And my buddy is like, Emma's under the table with me. Hi, Emma. Just chilling. I'll post a picture. Legs crossed. Legs crossed. Yes. Perfectly in front of her. Tim said she's happy when she does that. So she's sitting at my feet right now. How can I have a better day right now?
No, doesn't get any better.
Yeah. This is amazing.
It's, the cool thing is too about being up there on stage and feeling that success. Some might say it's easier to redirect because I've tasted the sweetness, right?
Yeah.
And I talk to a lot of students, and I tell them, I go, I didn't start living my dream until I was in my 50s. Is that okay with you? Because in your 20s, of course, you're bulletproof, right? We all are. We're like, and I'm going to make it big. 19, Karen Carp, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to ride a skateboard down an incline like this with no helmet or knee pads, because they didn't have that back with us, or we didn't buy them.
So, age gives us that moment and experience and wisdom to say, I love it, right? And I love the energy. But when you get that rejection, especially in this business, are you okay if it doesn't happen for another 20 years?
That's a hard thing for people.
Yeah.
I ask actors that all the time, and they have to have that answer for themselves. But I tell when they say it, because first of all, I do not let them put themselves down in front of me. I won't do that. I'm like, that's not how I feel about you. I don't ever want to hear that again. Like, I don't want to hear that. Yeah. You didn't mess up. If you're perfect, I don't want you in my band. I really don't. That means you're not in the moment. If you didn't have a flub, now if you're flubbing 93 times, you're in trouble. But if you have one flub, who cares? Like the audience, if they didn't want that, they'd go put the record on, right? Like that's how that is. But mistakes, rejection, age, no, not at all. How can you, I say to them, are you an actor today? Are you a musician today without a job? You have no job right now in that field. Are you those things? And if they say no, I said, you're right.
Wow.
But if you say I'm an actor, even without a job, and you say I'm a musician without the job, that's right. You are. You are.
Yeah.
So that you have to have that job behind it. You're an artist. You're always an artist. So you have to have that self-talk, and you have to do it to the people around you. Do you want those people around you to be feeding you and you feeding them as a family? Or do you want people around you who are not even trying? Right. I try things all the time. It might not work, but I don't know if I don't try. The answer is always going to be no unless you try.
That's right.
So age, I'm going through this now because my son is 16 and he's, looking at colleges and that. And he said, he's looking at majors and thinking about that. And I said, here's the thing. I hope we've been an example to you. I hope you've seen that we try different things all the time. And whatever your degree is, whatever you said when you were 18, does not have to be the blueprint for the rest of your life. You can change anytime. You can change tomorrow. You can decide, I could decide tomorrow that I want to go, work at Disney and be a greeter. I can do that. If I want to do that, that's my decision. That's your choice to do that. You can change anytime. And if you don't have that support around you, get new friends.
Which, by the way, is good acting if you're a greeter at Disney.
Oh, you have to be. Welcome. It's 133 degrees. I'm not melting.
220%.
I'm always happy. Everything's great. I love Disney. We would love you as a sponsor.
That's right.
So I really, and I know I can hear people and friends in my head of the money part of this. Yeah, I had 5 jobs. I have a hard time turning any jobs down now, even if it's, helping paint or help, do anything, in the theater. I have a hard time saying no. Because who knows? I have that mentality from working class that there's a job, take it. But what I do is find those survival jobs for yourself. Have a spouse, have a partner, have someone that's with you, that's supporting that. Right. Hopefully your families are helping. Take that help. Let them. How many people don't have families that want to help them? If your family wants to help you, let them. If I can do that for my son, because I'm always like, this is all going to be yours, and I'm like, we have a beautiful house. So I'm not saying that. And I think I have a beautiful home. I'm very proud of the house that we've built. Someone else built that we're in, but I'm like, this will all be yours. I know things are falling down, but you can fix it. But having that pride in yourself, right? I did this. I tried this. I want to change. This is not what I want to do. Or, I said, you can be midstream. And I've told him that you can be midstream and go, this is not the direction. What is that? I read this last night. It was a Japanese proverb about being on a train. And if you stay on that train too long and it, like get off at the stop when it's time, rather than the longer you go, the harder it is to get back to where you started. I loved that. I saw that. I thought that was beautiful. Taylor Swift had one. I love Taylor Swift. I have Tara, my friend Tara gave me the Eras Tour one. So because she's so positive, Taylor Swift is so positive. Sure. And her talking about, there are dark times, but you know what I'm doing? I'm still showing up. There's always going to be a dark thing, but it can be lightened by a friend. Lean a little harder on your friends. Know that you have those people. Know that you have that family that can help you do that. So how do you do this business? How do you continue to take the rejection? when you have somebody for you, waiting for you at home that you love, when you have a hobby that you love, when you have a place to go, when you have, if you have a spiritual place that you believe in that, you have a spiritual home to, go there. Go with those things. Live your life. You're always an artist. Those jobs will come when they're supposed to. You will find those things. I don't want people to ever give up. Call me. Find me.
Yeah.
Find me out there. Ask me. I will be your support.
Yeah.
I want to support people in getting there. And I have so many. Every time I get a mentee at the conferences, we do these booking conferences every year. And I think I'm friends with all of them still for the last 12 years, 12, 13. I think we've been since 2015, 14, 13. I think since 14, we've been doing this. So I have 11 or 12 years of 2 conferences a season where I get 2 to 3 mentees, and I know them all and I love what they're doing. And I can say it, you and I are of that generation. We're on the socials because of our family and friends. I don't take bullying. If I see people bully, it's an unfriend.
That's right.
I don't think twice about it. I don't put up with that in life. I'm not putting up with it in socials. There's no relationship that I care about that's unkind. I don't do that. So for us, right, I'm looking at the social stuff and going, this is a support system. Reach out to these people.
Yeah.
Find these people. And when someone is doing something, love it every time. Love it. Move on. If not, get off the socials.
That's right.
If it's bothering you to be out there, just don't be on it either. I also believe taking a long break from social media. Don't let that be a focus of your existence. Do your business and move on,
right.
Kind of thing. I love catching up with family and friends. I have people scattered everywhere.
And then somebody pops in, you're like, oh man.
I know, right?
So excited, like, hey.
Yeah. I'm like, gosh, I haven't heard from you. I heard from somebody. Oh my gosh. From years ago, and was just like, oh my gosh, how have we not connected? We were so close at one time, and we've just been chatting, just little chats here and there. And I love that about it. I think it's such a positive thing, and my son, I was like, we wrote letters, and he was just like, he's waiting right now. He has his own money, of course. So my aunt gave us, when we were home, my uncle's video camera, and it hooks into a VCR. She didn't have the VCR. So he's been scouring eBay, and he found the VCR that the camera hooks into to work. Listen, Deke, we're talking about, it goes on your shoulder. It's heavy. It sits up there. So he's like, it has to have this cord and this. So he found it.
Action 5 News.
Oh my gosh. God bless him.
Right.
And it's on eBay. So he finds it, and he said, can I order this? And I said, you can. I said, because I'm still, he has his own card that goes to his bank account, but I'm very like, don't spend this money, be very thoughtful. And I feel like he's so sweet. He's such a sweet kid. He listens. He doesn't just go do things like that. He's very thoughtful about it. And so he's waiting at the mailbox every day for this to come. And it was sent out. We're tracking it on the 16th of June. So he was like, so is it like this with letters? And I said, actually, it wasn't this long. I said, this isn't good. I said, I'm really sorry it's taken this long. Because yesterday he's like, it's been like 10 days. And and I said, can you imagine? I said, as a young person, like when I was 12 and 13 and had a pen pal, every day you were waiting for that letter. And it was every other day a letter would come, and you melted by that mailbox. Like, oh, where's my letter? You see the mailman and go running. There's a Carpenter's thing in that. I'm sorry, always music stuff in my head. So I was in California, and we were performing at a venue in Glendora, the Haas Center, and not far from Downey where the Carpenters were. And one of the people came up and she said, I have to tell you this story. You sing Please, Mr. Postman. And I said, yeah. And she said, my dad was the Carpenter's postman. I said, stop it. Yeah. And she said, I have to tell you this. So she said, they would be in the garage. And I said, they had a garage band? And she said, yeah, Karen was probably like 14 or 15. They're in the garage. She's on the kit. And she said, Dad said every time that he came to the end of the driveway, Karen got up off the kit, like flew and ran to him, like to get the mail. And I was like, oh, come on. So every time I sing Mr. Postman, I always think of that woman and think about her father, and what a cool, isn't that cool? So like those stories for us on the road, that same venue we were at, I remember the gentleman who sold Richard his first Cadillac, because Richard was something of a car collector, not as bad as Jay Leno. And there's nothing wrong with that, Jay Leno, it's fine. But as Will Smith's dad said, son, you have one behind. What do you need 17 cars for? That's fine. That's their business. It's their money, not my judgment. But he sold Richard his first Cadillac. So he was at our show. So, those kinds of moments that are priceless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And which moves me into that redirection again.
Yeah.
It's not a rejection. It's another line to your story.
It is,
because
it's a book. We have a giant book to write in our lives. We have a giant book. It's not just, don't take that as a rejection. It could be a paragraph. It could be a sub paragraph. It could be nothing. Just move on and keep walking.
And that's, I think about the studio here and all the wonderful conversations and the neat people that I've met, that I never would have imagined that I'm having a conversation, sit down lunch with Scotty Page. You're just you're like, I used to listen to you on my cassette. My brothers have the vinyl. And here we are. And I'm talking to you. This is blowing my mind. So it's these stories, I think, that is the redirection. You don't have to stop, turn around, and do a 180 and go the different direction.
No,
it might just be a sidestep.
Yeah,
and it's a piece to the story that you can tell like this. And that to me, especially in the arts, is in acting, is that's the stickers on your laptop.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Oh, I have so many amazing moments that you go, oh, I got to do this today. This happened today. I call home and go, this happened today. We lost Roger Nichols wrote with Paul Williams, We've Only Just Begun, Rainy Days and Monday. He just passed away recently. And I had posted a picture and a picture of his wife that I had met at the show in Bend, Oregon. And his wife's mom was there. And his daughter wrote me and said, thank you for this lovely thing from my father. And so I wrote her back. And I'm connected to these people that, people that knew Karen, people that have known them. And we have this connection that just overwhelms me. A dear friend of Olivia Newton-John, because Karen and Olivia were dear friends, saw me at a show a few years ago. And she called me and we talked. I talked over an hour on my way back from one of the venues, her telling me all about Olivia and how Olivia told her about Karen. And I just have those moments of connection and you hear it, right? Yeah. It's connection. So the rejection is, don't reject life. What you're going for, you keep going for.
Yeah.
What you want to do in your life, keep doing that, but keep living your life along the way for that. And surround yourself with people that still make you feel alive and make you feel amazing, and or jab the heck out of you because they're in your band. Or here like we're doing, right? And say that.
If you can't get roasted by your friends,
then they're not real friends. Right. Those aren't your real friends. If you can't tell somebody that's a horrible color for you, it looked good yesterday on somebody else, but on you it's not so good, then you're not really friends. So we try, we try. But no, I really believe in that absolute turning, always finding the way to turn it into the positive. And I feel like, again, there will be things. There's so many, because yes, it's been 16 years, but there's venues I want to play. I haven't played. There's places I haven't been. There's people I haven't met through this that I still want to meet. So there are always still dreams, and I believe in. My mom said even when I was little, always had a list. I always wrote things down, and having that list and those goals for something else. Continue to have those, because you see it. You see a path to it, and if you're thinking about it all the time, you'll see a path some way. You'll find it, or you'll hear somebody say something, and you'll go, "Wait a minute, that's something I might be interested in. Could you repeat that? Because I'm interested in that. Can you help me with that?" It happens to me all the time, especially when we're at these arts conferences. Someone will say, they're like, "Hey, I want to," and it's not just me doing this. The other people at those conferences, my friends, I think about Jenny, Laurel, Tommy, other people are like, "You should meet so-and-so. you should meet my friend. And then Tiana, like I look at them and they're like, you should meet this person. They have the same thing. Or Lisa, can you help them? Or you need their help or whatever it is, and that having those relationship and people around like that all the time. It's so energizing. It's so energizing. I do feel alive with that. And I feel just unbelievably blessed in what I get to do all the time. Thanks to Lynn and Doug Steffen for this. Right at One Stop Shop. I want to keep remembering them because there's something.
Yeah.
There's something of someone that they are dear friends that look at how can we help you with something. And I was just talking to her and she said, what are you up to? She's always asking what I'm doing, what projects are coming up, because I usually take the summers off. And she's like, what projects are you working on? And I said, I'm off. And I said, but I am starting a podcast. I said, so it's really exciting. She goes, great. I'm going to sponsor that. I'm like, stop it. She goes, no, that's something I could do for you. Let me do that. You don't ever let me. And I'm like, that's fine. Sponsor it. Fine. So yeah, I know.
So what advice do you have for people in the industry? Because it's a cutthroat industry. I mean, we know this, right? There's as many good stories and good people that you've connected because
I could tell you 100 bad ones that I don't want to tell.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you redirect when you realize that your circle that you're hanging with at that point isn't the right circle?
Yeah. Listen.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. I guess the listening part, know that I've lost many friends through the years, not to death.
Right.
I've lost friends to negativity, to being, you can't do that, or, that's not, or what are you doing? Or just jealous, that pervasive. Don't be around them. Don't spend your time with people like that who are not working on their craft. Like they're not working on their craft. They're not practicing. I sing every single day, even if it's just in the car, even if it's a moment, I'm looking at lyrics or new songs. So don't do that. Don't be with people who aren't. You have to surround yourself with people that are doing what you want to do, doing what you are doing, supporting other people. Like I don't have people in my band that wouldn't do anything for anybody else. They all have studios themselves. They want to help other people do what they do too. Yeah. So I hate to say it's that simple.
Well, it is.
It's hard to leave, right? It's hard because you said it earlier, there's abusive relationships, right? You kept trying that door 25 times. And I just so badly want to work at that theater. And I have experience. I have years to do it, but I walked away from so many of those places very early on and went, you're using the same people. You're not interested in outside talent. You are used to this, or you're going elsewhere to get it. You're using the same. So I'm not going to do that. That's not my goal. And if it was, then I would put all my focus on that and try to meet with them. Go call. That's the other thing. A lot of people don't have the nerve to say, call that artistic director or that casting director and say, I'm not getting cast here. Is there a class?
Right.
Can I take a class with you? Can I study with one of your voice teachers? Do you have a school? Do you have what is it? So, but a lot of people don't want to know the answer.
Right.
A lot of people don't want you to look at their headshots and say, these are 25 years old. Mine are not. They're 15. He was 1. Creel, I know you're listening. Lauren Creel. You were watching my son when I had my headshot. So he was 1. So yeah, mine are 15 years old. I don't need them anymore. Right. So that's fine. I mean, I have some pictures up. I have newer ones my niece put up. But you have to surround yourself with those people and find and accept those answers. It's hard to walk away from people. It's hard to look at somebody who you think they're really not my friend. If you don't, that's so hard because I'm not a person that says I hate anyone because I don't believe in that. I don't believe in hating. I think it brings too much to you. And I believe in releasing, but you have to have that honest conversation. If I don't leave the conversation with someone feeling uplifted, and I'm not talking about they just told you their dog died or their person died, that's going to have a sadness. But if you don't leave feeling loved and supported from conversations and relationships and moments and dinners and things you do together, you're not with the right people.
That's right.
That's hard to say that because I don't want everybody, I'm done with all you people. You're all, because people go through things. So be there for your friends. But if they're not trying to improve or trying to do better or trying to not be that negative person, you're not with.
Yeah. So
That's hard, right? That's a hard thing.
It is, but what I've told my kids and people that I've mentored is, and everything for me comes back to music, right? So Garth Brooks, absolutely love him. Garth, thanks for listening.
Yes.
The river.
Oh,
right.
Yes.
And in there it says the dream is like a river ever changing as it flows, and the dreamer is just a vessel that must follow where it goes. So I try to teach my kids and the people that I've mentored is like, you're not a big ship like what's behind you right now.
Yeah.
You're the vessel. So
Yeah.
you don't have to take people into your vessel
Yep.
that are going to drill holes or whatever.
That's right.
But so many times we hear, oh, we're all in the boat together. No. You're not in my boat.
Nope. I invite you.
Right.
This is an invitation because I can show you the deck and go, see ya.
Yes.
You know.
And so I think once you realize that you start depending on yourself more and leaning more into your passion and your dreams.
Yeah.
And not having to worry so much about what your passenger's saying.
Oh, that's great.
Right.
Oh, that's great. Look at you doing that for my boat.
Yeah.
But it's true. And I don't ever want to have that coldness about it, but it's I know from losing both my parents, I know I've lost my brother. I have a very tight, fierce circle of people that would do anything for me.
Yeah.
My dad told me that. My dad said before he had died, he said, he put his hand up. He loved indigenous peoples. And he made the comment, he said, from Native American culture, he said, you fill this one hand with people you can count on. At the age of 25, 30, 35, he goes, that's how you measure your wealth. Don't measure it any other way. That shows your wealth. And I think, I have two. I'm the richest person in the world that I know that. And so to waste time and it's like literally looking, these are not the people that are coming on this boat with me. You're going to be on a long boat ride. Let's not spend the time and have people on there who are going to bring it down. You want people that are going to be enjoying the party and are a part of the party and are contributing to the party the whole time and make this something to be proud of. I know life is short and I know that time is short and I know I don't want to waste it in any way. And I just don't. That's just not who I am. And everybody that knows me out there knows that. And, I try to make the most. I don't sleep enough. I need to sleep more. I do my best to get my 7 because I am always up and doing things. And when I'm feeling down, that's the other thing, the rejection part. I grew up Catholic. I always say I'm recovering, but I love Father Walker was my dear priest and still my dear friend. But I'm in a Methodist community now, and I believe in service to my soul. I believe in service. And so I think when I have had those very dark times, that they always say that when you're having something difficult, help somebody else. So that's where this mentorship and that's where the concept of this podcast came to me, was that if something is wrong, if you are getting all that rejection out there, go help somebody else and you'll become more clear about your point later. What that is. I still have the passion for music. So do you. So you'll still have that passion for your art, whatever that is, but go help somebody else. You'll feel better, whatever it is. Even if you're just calling to say, hope you're having a good day, friend. Or can I pick up a meal for you? Or let's just sit and meet or just talk for a minute. Or you look really nice today. Whatever it is, there's some way to serve each other to make things better. So, yeah.
And that's how you redirect.
That's right. So rejection becomes redirection, right?
Yeah. And it's so brilliant to think that I didn't get rejected. I got redirected.
Yeah. Well, again, all the words you heard me say, I'm not a cancer survivor. I'm a thriver. Yeah. I don't believe your words become power.
Words have meaning.
Yeah, they do. And if you hear them and you listen to those lyrics, those lyrics, so words are lyrics, words that those things come into you. Let what comes into you be positive and filling and uplifting and move you towards what you want. And it's all there. It's all in front of you, and it's all inside of you. So make sure that what you're surrounded with fills that too. That you're not letting something drain you, but you're filling them and they're helping fill you back in some way.
I love it. Listen, we are right at the back end of this, which is amazing.
Seems like a minute every time we talk.
And before we jump out, just another quick shout out to our sponsor.
Yeah, Lynn and Doug Steffen, One Stop Shop in Chicago. So we're so grateful for your support, and we appreciate that so much. We say to Creator Studios 216 Deacon, to Tim. to Cappuccino, to Nick. Thank you all for the love and support and just having the best time. And Emma, we can't forget Emma, the Border Collie, being my buddy today. So it's been a great day. So yeah.
And she's been, and look, we had to jump studios because of some technical difficulty.
Yeah.
And she came with us.
She did come with us. She followed. So she knew. She's like, this is my person today. So I love that.
I love it. Hey, if you love this, like, subscribe, pound the, smash the bell so you get alerts every time Rock the Boat comes on with Lisa Rock. Lisa, always fun to spend time with you. Love what you're doing. And until next time, we'll see you.
Thanks, Take.
So I'd like to know where you got the notion. Said I'd like to know where you got the notion. So I'd like to know where you got the notion. Said I'd like to know where you got the notion. Rock the boat, don't rock the boat, baby.